Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Middle of November. I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, but events overtook me, and I thought, well, why not? Because there was some big McCartney III announcements yesterday, and so I thought, well, let's have a chat about that amongst other things. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome, whether you're joining me live or watching it afterwards. There's plenty of people knocking around already, so thank you very much for that. That's much appreciated. So, there's been a few interesting things knocking about in the chat already, but please, if you want to ask anything, if you want to tell us anything, if you want to put right any of the nonsense that I'm talking, then put it in that chat and we will try and get to it as soon as we can. So, yeah, there's going to be loads of McCartney III talk tonight, I would imagine. But I'm probably let's try and get on to that. Let's see if there's anything else to talk about at the moment. So if you've got anything non-McCartney III related you want to talk about, let's start with that. If you want to send that through. So yeah, I hope you're all well, everybody. I think I put a message out yesterday saying I was going to do this live stream, and as always, you sent me loads of questions, which was very much appreciated. Hopefully I can answer some of those. If I don't, send them through again and we'll try and cover them. I did find one or two that I thought were that I definitely wanted to cover, so let's just have a look at this one. So Andrew Galvin sent one through, which caught my eye. The I've Got Beatles podcast suggested that Danny is finally in the archive prepping special editions. Which George album will benefit most from a reappraisal, do you think? And he wants a special edition of 79's George Harrison, massively underrated. So tell us in the comments which one you would like. Personally, I had to think about this, and I thought I'd love to get a proper concert for Bangladesh, because it's something that I've never really investigated much and know masses about. So that'd be good to get some sort of nice package of some document of that and find out what was going on there. That'd be good. But other than the obvious, All Things Must Pass, and I'm sure we'll talk about All Things Must Pass at some point. The next obvious one is Living in the Material World, because obviously George was still on top form then, and I think it would be great to see what else is in the vaults for that. There's been the odd little bits and pieces out in the past, but I'm sure there's an awful lot more that we can get. So let's see what we could get there. So Oliver, hi Oliver, you're alright. You want Gon Troppo? That'd be good. I like Gon Troppo. I can't remember which half it is. I seem to remember I really like one side and one of the other, and the other side is not so good. I think it's side A that I really like on Gon Troppo. Yeah, Graham, hi Graham. You want All Things Must Pass and demos and outtakes? I think we all want that, and looks like, well, I think we can still hopefully fairly confidently think that that's coming, but it's surely it's going to be next year now. It's too late for this year, and I think that's quite interesting that so far with 50th anniversaries of Beatles products, it's been a case of that we've had them in the relevant year, we've had them in the appropriate year, so Pepper in 2017, etc. But now Let It Be obviously was put back because of COVID. That's going to be next year. Plastic Ono Band looks like it's probably going to be next year now, otherwise they would have announced it by now. All Things Must Pass next year. They certainly seem to be not as keen on that 50-year thing, which is a lot of it's, as you probably know, has been done for legal reasons. There's this 50-year copyright rule with demos and outtakes. If they've never been released before, then you've got to get them out within 50 years to protect the copyright, otherwise that goes. But maybe, and I've mentioned this on videos going back a couple of years now, that maybe Apple are taking a slightly, and the members of Apple are taking a slightly different view, that, you know, they can probably afford a better lawyer than you can. So if you were to put this stuff out because it's gone out of copyright, well, they'll probably take you to court and challenge that ruling. So, but it looks like they're going to have to maybe test that, because surely somebody, if let's say John's estate puts out Plastic Ono Band early next year, somebody can, in theory, put all of those demos and outtakes that haven't been released before. They can release those. So it would be interesting to see what kind of legal challenges come from that. So yeah, interesting that's starting to slip a little bit now, but I'm excited for the next few years, because there's so many 50th anniversary possibilities. We've had kind of one possibility a year for the last few years with Beatles. Now suddenly we've got four, but Ringo doesn't seem to be too bothered about it, so he might not go down that road. But Paul, John, George, there's all sorts of things that we could potentially get. I mean, I've been loving the McCartney half speed remaster that came out a few weeks ago, a couple of months back. That sounds so good, and I'm thinking I would love to have Ram next year. That would be fantastic for the 50th anniversary. Can't give us an archive because we've got that, but let's have that half-speed remaster sounds amazing, so let's have one for Ram. So anyway, Graham says he thinks next April, maybe so. Quite possible. Oliver says, how am I enjoying the Plastic Ono band book? That one there. Very good. I've not got through all of it yet because I've until very recently I've been concentrating on finishing the Mark Lewison tuning book, which I've now finished, and I'm going to be doing. I'm planning a review video of that, which I'm going to hopefully be doing soon. So I've finished that now. And I'll be able to properly start on the Plastic Ono band book. I've started on bits of it, and it's really interesting how it doesn't just start with Plastic Ono band. It sort of really goes from kind of back end of '68, early '69 about what John and Yoko were doing all in the build up to it all. So it sort of shows you how they arrived at Plastic Ono band, which is interesting. So yeah, I've certainly made a start on it, but I've got a lot more to do. I think that's coming out in America very soon. Is it this week? Next week? So hopefully, if any of you are in America and possibly other countries as well, it might be coming out this week. I'd certainly recommend that if you get a chance. It looks like it's going to be really good. John Horsfield wants extra texture. Yeah, enjoy. It's not my favourite album of George's by any means. It's got a couple of good tracks. I like You and This Guitar Can't Keep From Crying. They're good, but I find it a really hard work album. It's quite down, isn't it? But yeah, I'd love to see what else is there. Bonus tracks and that kind of thing. That'd be good. Ooh, what's this, Sean? A question for the live stream, Andrew. Should we all wait for a McCartney 3? Oh, no, I'm going to do McCartney 3 in a little bit. I'm going to come back to McCartney 3. I'll definitely be talking about that though, so don't go away. I will be talking about that. What's Harry saying? Is it me, or are post-Beatles Harrison songs hard work? Unnatural melodies and often surprisingly trite lyrics. Has everybody let Harry get away with that so far? I think you've pretty much got away with that, Harry. I think there's two Georges for me. I think George had lots of different personalities. I've always been a fan of Happy George. So when he does songs like Cheer Down or You that I mentioned from Extra Texture, they're really good upbeat songs. They're the ones that I tend to sort of really like, or Blow Away or something like that. They're my favourite. When George sort of gets down a bit, I don't enjoy it as much. But I know a lot of people who absolutely love it when George does that. So it's whatever you like best. Yeah, some mentions of tuning there. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do really sort of how I got on with that book over the about 7 years that I've owned it, and I've just finished it in the last 2 or 3 days. Crazy. Anthony, hi Anthony, are you okay? Do you prefer the Gon Troppo version of Circles or the Isha demo version? I probably I prefer the is it Gon Troppo that's on Circles? Yeah, I get mixed up with that and what was the other one? The other one from the White Album that eventually came out a few years later. Not Guilty. So yeah, I prefer the Gon Troppo version. The Isha demo one is historically great to listen to just for the fact of what it was, the situation. But I think when you listen to that on the Isha demos, you can, some of the times with some of the George songs, I think you can probably tell that when he was great, he was fantastic, but some of the time he wasn't. I don't think he was still quite at the level of John and Paul at that time. Yeah, but I like the fact that we've got both of them. Oliver says, when's the next Pick of My Pops video? I didn't think anybody would want another Pick of My Pops video, but you'd like to see a Pink Floyd one. I can do a Pink Floyd one. I am no expert on Pink Floyd. Let's just make that absolutely clear. I am not. So it would be a rundown of what my favourite songs are, maybe what my favourite albums are, but there's not going to be any Mark Lewison type authority stamped over that video. I can tell you that for certain. Oh, it came out yesterday, did it, in the States? Major Jackson, the Plastic Ono Band book. Well, so hopefully plenty of you have got that now. what was this? Oh, I just scrolled and missed something there. There was something to do with. What about 50th anniversary of the Christmas albums from then to you? They could give it away free. Do you know what? I was thinking about doing a video on the Christmas albums, which you can probably just see there. That Christmas album vinyl box set. So yeah, you never know. That's 50th anniversary of those starts. Well, that's going to be another 3 years, isn't it, before we get to the 50th anniversaries of any Christmas albums? But that'd be great if they start doing things for that. So anyway, let's just have a look at this. Andrew, Ben Walker says, Andrew, did you do the McCartney album each day in the lead up to McCartney III in the end? So I mentioned this on my last live stream because it had kind of just been announced as a thing. It was a thing that somebody made up and said, how about if you start on something like the 27th of October and do this? There was this schedule. If you do this every day between now and December the 11th, when McCartney III comes out, you can listen to something in chronological order from McCartney every day up till then. And I thought, oh, that'd be great. And I've stuck to it pretty much today. In fact, today I've got what I've been listening to today is still out. Today's album was Unplugged, so I did that today. Yesterday was Flowers in the Dirt. Day before that was Chobba BCCCP. And I must admit I've cheated today, because also today I should have done Tripping the Life Fantastic, and it's the first one I've decided not to do. Well, that's only because I did listen to it just a few weeks ago, and it's a big old album, is that? It's and I just thought I'm not ready for that again. But I've also got Tomorrow's listening out, so tomorrow I'm going to be doing. Actually, sometimes those of you that have joined these before, well, certainly a while ago, I used to do like little quiz questions just dropped in during these live streams, and I'd picked out Tomorrow's listening as something that was also going to be a quiz question. So Tomorrow's listening is, and this is a rare outing for this, Liverpool Oratorio. So I'm sort of slightly scared and also slightly pleased to be having a full listen to this, because it very, very rarely gets listened to. But my quiz question was going to be, let me know in the chat, let's see who gets there first, what year is this album from? There you go, there's your first quiz question of the night. Tomorrow's listening on the McCartney III journey is Liverpool Oratorio. What year did that come out? I will scroll down to the end of these comments in a moment and see who gets there first. So yes, Ben, I have been doing that, and sometimes it's hard work, back to the egg, and sometimes it's an absolute joy. So yeah, I'm doing that. Ooh, there's some interesting news here that I've just seen. From Nicholas. Hi Andrew, have you heard the news about the Beatles Hard Day's Night 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray re-release? It's already announced for January. I didn't know about this. So, oh my goodness. So, we bought it on VHS. Then we bought it on DVD. Then, the version to end all versions. Blu-ray. And now there's a 4K Blu-ray coming out, is there? Well, I mean, I prefer it if it goes straight to streaming, because I think A Hard Day's Night is on. Is it Amazon Prime? I think it's on. So, but how many people? Sorry, I was listening to Flowers in the Dirt yesterday. How many people have got a 4K player? I mean, you might have 4K capability on your TV and through an app, but how many people have actually got a 4K Blu-ray player? Obviously, some have, but it's not a mass market thing, is it? Like a DVD player was. So, I might have to not buy that because I ain't got anything to play it on, but I would hope that I could stream it, because I'd love to see that. How much more picture quality can they tease out of it? Because it looked fantastic on Blu-ray. So yeah, that would be interesting to see, but I didn't know about that. Yeah, very good. So I'm just going to scroll back down here, because like I said last time, I found that I was trying to read everything in order, and there was too much down below that I wasn't getting to, so I was like 10-15 minutes out of date. I'm going to try and keep towards the bottom of the list here, so I might miss stuff. If I miss your question, post it again, and hopefully we'll get to it. We'll try and get to it. CJ says, Bummy, you've missed all my questions so far. Sorry, it's not deliberate. I just haven't seen them. So ask me a question, and as soon as I see it, I'll answer it. Maybe I need to become a Patreon. I don't do Patreon. I know some people do it. Get some money for that. If you're good at that, you get some money. But I don't do that. This is it. Free content. I can't charge for the stuff I put out. Absolutely not. Nobody'd put up with that. So, Matt, you're doing the McCartney Marathon. You watched Broad Street for the second time ever. Was it you who put that in the Hoffman forums the other day? Somebody said that they'd watched Broad Street. I'd like to see Broad Street. Anyway, we've got a lot of answers coming through. This is, like I said, I'm behind already. I'm trying to catch up. 1991. Is that Vera? You just missed out with your 1934 guess. Hard luck. But yes, 1991. That came out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to that tomorrow. It's probably going to be background music while I'm working. I don't think you could sit and be all serious muso listening to that. Some people could, but I couldn't. Graham says, have I seen that Yoko's not well handed the business side to Sean Lennon? Yeah, I did see that. So yeah, I hope Yoko is hope Yoko's doing okay. But yeah, apparently Sean is now the named director of Apple. That was something I read just recently. So when it comes to, it's been, well, we say it's been Paul, Ringo, Yoko and Olivia. Technically it hasn't. I'll come on to that in a moment. But now it looks like it's going to be Sean rather than Yoko. Because I didn't realise until recently, actually, that Paul McCartney is not a director of Apple. Which kind of blew my mind a bit. He's got one of the Eastmans, one of Linda's relatives, who I think is he one of the lawyers. He sits on the Apple board instead of Paul. That may be the dullest sentence I've ever said, but I found it quite interesting. No, I'm sure I've said much duller than that on a regular basis, to be honest. So anyway, let's just have a look. There's lots of hellos coming through still. Hello everybody. Hi, how are you doing? Right, so let's have a look. What about the competition for the sealed McCartney magazine? Still waiting for those dice to come. So I got a message from Capitol Records in America. They wanted to send me something. They wanted my address. I gave them that, and it was literally like a day or two after when lots of people in America started receiving the dice. I thought, that must be what it is that's sending me. But the postal system in the US, I've heard, is not in a great way. And I've heard from people over here who have said that they've ordered things from America that at the moment are taking about 6 weeks to get here. It's over 4 weeks ago since I got asked for my address. So I'm hoping they come soon. If they don't, I'm going to look like an idiot. I've got a really cheap plan B plan because this competition that I'm doing involves the dice. I've got a game planned that I need the dice for. And if I have to use other dice, I will. But we'll come on to talking about dice as well, because if you haven't heard, you can now buy the dice. But we'll come on to that. We will be coming on to McCartney III, don't worry. There's an awful lot to discuss about McCartney III. Vera asks, hello Vera, my favourite band. I think viewers to this channel could probably guess what my favourite band is. If you want to answer for Vera, because I'm sure nearly all of you would get it right. Let's see whether you do. But I can't imagine that many of you would get that wrong. I'd like to know your comedy answers as well. What's your comedy answers to what is my favourite band? That'd be good to see as well. Hi Pavement, down the road in Halifax. Hi there. Right, we've got a bit of confirmation there about mail taking longer. Yeah. Right, so we're talking about All Things Must Pass a few minutes ago. But have you seen that there is something coming out for All Things Must Pass? Are you ready? Are you ready for the excitement here? Christmas bauble. That's not really what I was hoping we'd be getting for All Things Must Pass. That wouldn't have been my preferred choice, but it would look beautiful on a Christmas tree. I'm not going to buy it. It would look great, but if that's all we get for All Things Must Pass, I'd be quite disappointed. I've just seen something that's grabbed my attention here. Killian McCartney. Am I the only one who liked Press to Play and Broad Street? So I've just done Broad Street and Press to Play on this McCartney marathon we've been talking about. So I did them at the weekend. And Broad Street, it's all right. It's a nice, pleasant listen. There's a few sort of moments of what the heck, why? That version of Silly Love Songs, for example, is not good. But there's some things I like on there. I really like that medley that's on there of Yesterday, Here, There and Everywhere and Wanderlust. I think that's really nice. I like Eleanor's Dream. I like the new songs like No Values, Not Such a Bad Boy, No More Lonely Nights. I think there's a lot of good stuff on there. Press to Play, I did after Broad Street, obviously. I love Press to Play. I'm really starting to properly enjoy Press to Play now, because I think probably like a lot of people, I kind of ignored it for a while, and the CD that I've got has got 3 bonus tracks on at the end, and they're alright, I don't mind them, but I think they should be separate from the album. So when the album finishes with However Absurd, I think it's a fine album there. I mean, it's bonkers in places. Talk More Talk is crazy, but I just think it's a really enjoyable album. Excuse me, I'm going to try and make my throat last the hour. So what we've got, Vera thinks my favourite band is the Beatles. Maximo thinks it's the Backstreet Boys. It could be one of those 2 bands. Lucho, is that right? What are my thoughts about the leak of McCartney III? Has it leaked? I'm not aware that it's leaked. I know there's people who've heard it, but my understanding was that was kind of deliberate. The people who'd been officially sent links to be able to hear it for review purposes. Certainly not leaked in my direction. And I don't know. I've been trying to think. Do I want to hear it? Of course, I want to hear it, but do I want to wait for December the 11th? I think part of me just wants it to be completely new on December the 11th. So even if suddenly a link for a leak landed in my inbox, I'm still not sure whether I would listen to it. I don't know. We'd find out. But yeah, we'll see. Move Over Busker. Yeah, that's another mad one as well. Anthony says, do I think the Red Rose Speedway medley only works at the end, or do you think it still fits on the reconstructed version? I don't like where it sits on the reconstructed version. I can't remember exactly where it is, but I know it's a lot more... It's certainly not at the end, because they've got Little Lamb Dragonflies at the end of that, I think, isn't it? Which, I mean, that would be a great album closer, but I think that medley only really works at the end. So I do like having the reconstructed version, and I do play it now and again, but it generally tends to make me think that actually they probably got it about right with the main album. So there you go. Favourite Travelling Wilburys song? That's a tough one. There's some great ones, isn't there? I mean, there's... If only I'd practiced that, I could have got it right, couldn't I? That's a good one. End of the Line, brilliant. Margarita, Handle with Care, and then some of the stuff on the Volume 3, like Devil's Been Busy, I really like. Cool Dry Place, that's pretty funky. So, yeah, I like that. Okay, I think I'm going to have to come on to McCartney III soon. I can't put it off much longer, can I? We'll get there shortly. But if anybody's got anything else non-McCartney III related before that, then let's have it. Right. So what's the next McCartney box set going to be? Says Henry. I know people have been wanting them for years, and they keep getting pushed back in favour of other things, but you'd have to kind of probably think that London Town and Back to the Egg are now the most likely ones. But I've not heard anything for definite yet. But I think it might be the time now that those two come out. But I'd love it if it was press to play. I'd be cock a hoop, as they say, if it was press to play. That'd be brilliant. Or Off the Ground. Nicholas says, what's my favourite track on Press to Play? I think there's probably a difference between my favourite and what I think is best. I think probably the best song on there, the sort of one that's got the McCartney magic, is probably Footprints. But my favourite is... it's tough. Because I like the experimentation that's on there, and for experimentation you can't go wrong with something like Talk More Talk, just because it's so ridiculous and crazy. But so that's Pretty Little Head is great. Good Times Coming, Stranglehold at the beginning. I think, yeah, probably one of those. But probably the best song I would think is Footprints. If you're gonna pick a song off that album and say, McCartney was still making great songs in the mid '80s, I'd probably pick Footprints. Bring Back My Ruttles, absolutely. Well, unfortunately, we can't now because Neil is no longer with us. But I love the Ruttles; they were great. Got to see them live a few times as well, which was brilliant. So that was great. RoboTube has brought up something that hasn't been discussed, which is good. Did I see the 4K Rupert film preview last Sunday? Yes, I did. I thought it was really enjoyable. So have I ever seen that before? I'm really not sure whether I couldn't quite figure out whether it was something that was around at the time in terms of that full film, but has just been restored now, or whether that's never been seen, because I don't think I'd ever seen it. But I did, and I really enjoyed the little story that they've got. And you listen, it was funny listening to the voice of Rupert, because you think, well, that is clearly Paul McCartney. Have they maybe speeded it up or something to make it higher? But then you think, he loved doing that, because when I watched Bruce McMouse, when it came out on the Red Rose Speedway archive, we watched Bruce McMouse, and there's their voice. Paul's doing the voices of that as well, and he just loved doing that stuff, which is crazy because you can't really imagine a current pop star nowadays doing things like that. But yeah, there you go. I did watch it and I did enjoy it. It was good. Harry says Love Remains is the best. I can see a case for arguing that. Yeah, Move Over Busker is favourite. Well, whatever your favourite is, nobody can argue with that. If that's your favourite, that's what it is. But yeah, Only Love Remains, I can see why that could also be classed as the best one on there. Classic Macca ballad. Do I think that Only Mama Knows is one of the best songs on Memory Almost Full? There's so many good songs on Memory Almost Full. I think it's a great rocker. Yeah. I like the long intro that and then eventually that guitar riff kicks in, and I can never quite get the timing right when that guitar riff's kicking in. But yeah, I think it's a great rock. It's certainly up there with the best songs on Memory Almost Full. House of Wax would be another one. I love the stuff like Dance Tonight, the simple stuff. That's just pure McCartney, is that for me. So I think there's a lot of great songs on Memory Almost Full. Concert for Kampuchea needs to be out on video, says Tony. Well, is that what they would put on the in the London Town Back to the Egg box? And it's rumoured that that's potentially the subject to this court case that's supposedly been holding it up for a while. The rights to all the different people that are on there. So maybe we will get it. Hopefully we will at some point. Mike, you've done Memory Almost Full already in your McCartney III run-up. You're leaving yourself no space here. You're going to be run out of albums very shortly. You've got to pace yourself, man. Come on. We should be no further than Unplugged today. But this schedule is crazy for doing it like that. There's so much to pack into it. You do your schedule as you want to do, Mike. You'll be loving it however you do it. Robert Halsall has asked a question that's caught my eye. You mentioned before when reading Tune In that you'd listened to the Decca auditions. Have you ever thought about watching or watched The Girl Can't Help It? I haven't seen The Girl Can't Help It. I would certainly love to, because I like sort of seeing, when you read about the influence that it had on them, that makes me think I'd love to see that film. Because, for example, what I was doing during Tune In was quite often, so I don't want to go too much into what I want to talk about in this video that I'm planning about the books, but Mark Lewison often goes into detail about what's going on around the Beatles at the time. So not just them, but what's happening elsewhere and what they were influenced by. So let's say, for example, let's pick a year 1959. He would be talking about sort of what music they were playing based on what they were influenced on. And so what I would often do at that point is I would crank up Spotify and I would just type in something like Best of 1959 or Hits of 1959, find a playlist, press play, and I would quite often find that songs that were coming up and I'm listening to are the same songs that are being talked about in the book as I'm reading it. So I found that really interesting. So yes, seeing things like The Girl Can't Help It mentioned does make me want to go and watch those films. So yeah, I would like to see that, definitely. But it's, I mean, I presume I could buy it on, if I really wanted it, I guess I could buy it on DVD. But yeah, I would like to see those sort of things from the birth of Rock and Roll. Where the heck did that come from? The birth of rock and roll. Yeah, I'm interested in all that stuff. Callum says, my copy of Man on the Run book has arrived. It's pretty extinct. Have you read it, Andrew? Have I read it? You mean that one? That is an amazing book. I've talked about this a few times. The fact that I love it so much is why it's so easily to hand. Because sometimes, if you just find you've got 5 minutes spare and you want to have a quick read, just open this up at a random page, and that's going to be an enjoyable few minutes. So yes, I have read it. I would recommend that book to anybody. I really would. Sean says, "Do you have the Ruttles album?" Well, yeah, I've got a few that's here. I know exactly where they are. I'll show you. Should take a minute just to go through some Ruttles albums. So yes, first album, there you go, and it's the proper version as well. It's got Get Up and Go on it, because I know that wasn't on. I don't think that was on the original vinyl, was it? If somebody can maybe confirm that, somebody will know. I don't think Get Up and Go was on the original vinyl of that album. So I've had that probably 30 years. Archaeology, of course, came out around about the same time as Beatles Anthology. Great album. I then went and bought it again, purely because it had some bonus tracks on it. 5 bonus tracks on there. So that's, if you want some Ruttles bonus tracks, I'll show you what they are. You'll see them at the end there. It's worth getting. And then one time when I did go and see them live, is this signed? No, this isn't signed. I've got Neil Innes' signature, but I've got the Ruttles Live and Raw. So that's a good live album from a few years ago. When was that? 2014, that was. Bought that at a Ruttles gig. So yeah, I love the Ruttles. Absolutely, great band. I did a kind of a mini interview with Neil Innes when I met him the first time I saw the Ruttles play about 15 years ago. I did like an after gig little interview with him, impromptu. I just went up to him and asked him a few questions, basically. But I wrote down everything, and I'll maybe cover that on a video sometime, because he had some interesting thoughts. So we're nearly down at the bottom of the list, which is good. I haven't read Derek Taylor's book, no, but that could be interesting. You know, one of the main inside men. Hi P, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yes, I agree with what you're saying there. Get Up and Go is not on the vinyl. Thank you, P. I didn't think it was. Yeah, absolutely. Get Up and Go may have been too similar. I think that's the one where, because apparently Paul McCartney wasn't too enamoured with the Ruttles, obviously unlike George was, and apparently John really loved it. But I think Get Up and Go was the one that got Paul McCartney's back up. We used to do, the first band I was in, sort of going back 20 odd years, we used to do Get Back. I was the singer in that band. That's why it didn't last very long. But I could always kind of tell how much I was enjoying a gig, because if I did enjoy a gig, when we did Get Back, I would suddenly slip into a verse of Get Up and Go instead of Get Back. And I only seemed to do that when I was really enjoying myself. So, yeah, it's very, very similar. George should have joined the Ruttles for their live shows. Do you know what? I think he would have. I think he might have. I think he would have done if the situation had been right. It's the kind of daft thing that George would have done, isn't it? It's a shame that they couldn't get Ricky Fattar to be in the live band. Obviously, who played Stig O'Hara. That would have been great. But one of the things that I asked Neil Innes when I did that little sort of interview thing with him was about why Ricky didn't play, and he just said basically he was just too busy. I think he was touring with Bonnie Raitt at the time. Raitt? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. He was busy touring with her at the time, and just way too busy. Probably earning a lot more money as well than he would have done on a Ruttles tour. So, yeah. So, CJ, you said I wasn't answering your questions. I've just seen your name pop up. So I don't know what you've asked. I've got to cover it for you. I get the impression that you're more of a McCartney fan compared to Lennon, Harrison, Starr? What is it about McCartney that you love compared to the others? I'll give you a short answer, and I'll also point you in the direction of a longer answer. I think the short answer is just that he was more around when I was growing up. Because, you know, by the time I started properly getting into music, John wasn't around anymore. George was doing virtually nothing, and I didn't really sort of know of George as a live and active person until Got My Mind Set on You came out. But with Paul, you know, it was things like No More Lonely Nights, Broad Street, the All the Best album. That he was just there, and I kind of got into him more because of that. If you want a fuller answer, there's a video. If you want to look back through my videos, I did a video, I think it was earlier this year, and it was called something like How I Got Into the Beatles. And I give a much bigger answer there. So a bit of shameless self-promotion. While I'm on that, I've just realised that's still on screen. Let's get rid of that off the screen. That's getting in the way. Yeah, that video explains it in way more detail, but generally it was the fact that he was around doing stuff and was being seen. So that's the main thing. There we go. Oh, Graham, you drank in George's local pub the other day, the Barge. That must be down in Henley-on-Thames, is it? They've got a photo of George in there. I was told George and Eric Clapton often play guitars to entertain the locals. I did hear that George liked to just pop into his local pub, which is a great thing. Imagine just being, you know, imagine if you were just passing through and just randomly thought, oh, I need a drink, I'll pop into the pub and get one. George Harrison sat there. That must have been amazing. Talking of needing a drink, I was asked earlier about if there was going to be an unseen mug on screen. I can't remember who asked it now, and I said no, but there will be a whiskey, an unseen whiskey glass. So I'm just going to have a little toot. Medicinal for the throat. You know, when you work in the throat this hard, you need to kill the bacteria that's in there. So cheers, everybody. Cheers. So I think let's talk about McCartney III, shall we? I'd be interested to see whether the number of viewers suddenly drops off at this point. No, I'm not staying for McCartney III. Let's talk about McCartney III. So, what does everybody think about what was announced yesterday? So I'm just going to show you an example of one of the things that was announced yesterday. He's done this in 4 different colours, where you can buy, I think you can buy, I'm going to talk very specifically about the CD on the left, but you can get these bundles, t-shirt, mask, dice. The dice are finally available for sale, and a cap. Now, the CD that comes with it is interesting, because it seems to be the full album, and if you look there, if you look on that disc, it's certainly got a track list in there that suggests the full album. But of the 4 different colours that they're doing, which I think is it yellow, red, blue, and white? I think the CD that you get has got a different demo track depending on which colour you buy, and I'm interested to know whether people think that that is just a step too far or not. I personally haven't ordered any of those products yet. I'm not saying I definitely won't, because I might do, but I really don't know yet. Because part of me is thinking, well, you know, you look what happened with Egypt Station. Let's just pull this out a second. We had Egypt Station, and then the year after, Explorers Edition came out. And you had, where is it? Side E, Get Started, Nothing for Free, Frank Sinatra's Party, 62nd Street, Who Cares Full Length, Get Enough, and then some live stuff. It all came out, and you'd think, well, are they going to do the same thing again? And, you know, we could be wrong. Maybe they won't. Maybe this is the opportunity to buy those things. And we don't know. And it really sort of got me thinking about the sort of difference between what we as fans want. You know, if we could map out on a piece of paper what our ideal release would be for McCartney III, you know, it's going to be different for everybody, but I might sort of say, you know, I want a vinyl option, maybe a second coloured vinyl option as a maximum, I want a CD version. I might want a deluxe CD version that I know in advance I can get that's got extra tracks on. But over and above that, is it starting to take the mickey a bit? And it's this difference for me between what's best for fans and what's best for the record company. And I don't think you can completely ignore either, to be honest, because the record company obviously need the fans. I think what's clear here is that what is absolutely happening here is they're going for a number one album. Paul wants that number one album. He got it in America with Egypt Station. He didn't get it in the UK. I think he is absolutely gunning for that UK number one album. And, you know, I saw lots of comments yesterday from people saying, on the one hand complaining, oh my God, there's 4 variations of the album, each with a different bonus track on, demo. But I've bought all 4. And, you know, that's another 4 copies of the album. Somebody who's done that has almost has ordered probably a vinyl, probably one of the regular CDs. And I think they're trying to gear everything up to as many first week sales as possible to get that number one. And part of me thinks, well, can you blame them? You know, Capitol re-signed Paul a few years ago. They've put a lot of money into it. It's a business at the end of the day. They need to get this money back. So I don't want to be too critical, because a lot of it looks like marketing genius what they do. But there comes a point where you think, has it gone too far? And I think they're testing people. They're really testing people at the moment. You know, I'm someone who, like a lot of you, wants to buy Paul McCartney products. We really want to, you know, and I want to buy the vinyl. I want to buy the CD. I'd love a special edition. I'm kind of happy to buy 3 different versions of this album, but everybody's got their own breaking point, and I think they're almost like trying to tease where are people's breaking points. They teased it a couple of years ago with the big suitcase of Egypt Station, and I didn't go for that, and I've not had a moment's regret about it. They teased it with what else was there? You know, Flaming Pie, the big which one was it? Was it called the collector's edition? The big sort of $600, £500 version. I did that video at the time where I said, I'm not getting it. I'm not playing that game. And I stuck to my guns, even though some people thought I hadn't because I bought that. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one that's 4 times the size of that would take up most of one of these sections here. I didn't fall for it. And by my count, we've had something like 16 different variations of McCartney III announced now. And while I'm loving it, you know, I'm a big McCartney fan and I want to see all this stuff, there comes a point where you just say, I'm not doing it. I could quite easily go onto my computer now and order all 4 of those CDs. No skin off my back at all. But I almost don't want to play the game, because if people will do this, then they'll do that, and if they'll do that, then they'll do that, and it's only ever going to increase. There was a David Bowie album came out last week, and the Bowie camp have really pushed their fans to the limit lately, and they've sold something like 1,700 copies of it in the first week, which is terrible. And a lot of it is because they've just annoyed the Bowie fans so much, and I would hate it if this happens with Paul McCartney. It hasn't done yet for me, but I can see it coming for a lot of people. And judging by the comments when I said yesterday that what do you think, is this marketing genius or has it gone too far, it was pretty much all responses were it's going too far. So it's a fine line, as the man once said. I'm dropping in these McCartney lyrics tonight, aren't I? So he's got to be careful. But anyway, that sounded like a bit of a downer and almost a rant for me. I don't rant very often, and that wasn't quite a rant, was it? But it was, you know. But I am really looking forward to McCartney III, I must admit. I've read quite a lot of the reviews now that have been out. So Uncut magazine, which hopefully quite a few of you have got this now. And yes, I hope I'm going to be giving that away, that sealed copy, as soon as I can do this competition. I'll be doing that, and I might even, there will be other. I'm not just giving this away, because you know you can buy that in the shops. A lot of you, if you're close enough to a shop to do that, there'll be something else. It'll be a record or something from my collection will be the prize as well. I'll do that as soon as I can. But yeah, the reviews sound really good. There's a song called Deep Deep Feeling on the album, which sounds like it's about 8 minutes long, and the reviews are all saying, you know, this is heavy duty. This is like some sort of almost like I don't want to use the word droney because that sounds negative. I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean in terms of a sort of it draws you in. It's that sounds really interesting. Does that song? Lavatory Lil sounds really interesting as well. So one of the interviews, Paul had said, I think it was the Uncut interview. Paul said it's written about somebody who'd screwed him over, and he said she will never know that it's about her. He said, some of the people who know me will know who I'm talking about, but she will never know. So that's really intriguing, because that got me thinking, well, you know, it's almost like a whodunit, isn't it? Who's it about? And the last time we really had that with a McCartney song was Riding to Vanity Fair. You know, because I still argue that song isn't about Heather Mills. I think it was about his publicist, Jeff Baker. I think I've talked about this other times, but so that sounds really interesting. I realise I've been neglecting your comments, which I apologise for, because I sort of got a bit in the zone there. So let's just see what I can see. Nicholas says, which version of McCartney 3 are you going to get? White, blue, red or yellow, or all four? I've ordered the white. I've ordered the red. I've ordered that Spotify. I'm almost forgetting now. I've ordered that Spotify bottle, Coke bottle green. Here's me complaining about too many formats, and I've ordered 3 coloured vinyl versions already. And I already know, because I've booked the day off work on the 11th of December. I already know that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to HMV when it opens in the morning, or better still, my local independent record shop. And I'm going to probably buy a copy that I've got there and then, so that I can get a video done on release day and out, hopefully with some kind of release day review. So, because I don't expect any of those to arrive on release day, and I'm not going without it. But you're right, Norman. Oh, Mazzy. Hi, Mazzy. You okay? Streaming will be an option for those who don't want to spend, absolutely. And this is another good thing, really, about, you know, you can complain all you want about 16 different versions of the album coming out, or Paul putting out a $600 version of Flaming Pie, but what always happens, almost without exception, is that all or almost all of that music is available either streaming for pretty much free, or on just a normal price CD. He's making the music available, and that's the great thing here. If you want to spend wads of money extra on things, trinkets, paraphernalia, gubbins, whatever you want to call it, you can do that, and that's probably funding these projects and making these projects happen. But if you want the music, you can get that really cheap or pretty much for free, and I think that's one great thing that I will give credit for. In fact, I give credit to a lot of things that are happening with McCartney's team. Sometimes it just feels like it's going a bit overboard, but they make that music available, and I don't think we can argue that fact, really. So yeah, there you go. What do I know? Ben, hi Ben. What do I know about the deluxe McCartney 3 CD that's shown in the Paul McCartney website? Is that this one that you're talking about? The one that's on here? The 4 different variations? So that it would be sent out from the 18th of December. That would be a pain, wouldn't it, if it's a week late? I don't know, really. There's just been so much to take in over the last day or so. I'm sure if you read the small... I'd like to say if you read the small print on Paul's site, it'll tell you exactly what you're buying, but I'm not convinced it does, to be honest. Mark, you're right, it's not as if he needs the money, but I don't think it's him that's driving this. I think it's Capitol. Paul delivers an album to Capitol Records, who he's under contract to, and I think they come up with these variations because they've got a business to run. So, hi Cherry, what's this I'm drinking? This is just orange squash. That's all that is. Just to lubricate the throat, and then we kill the bacteria with the little whiskey. Yeah, so yeah, there we go. I think I like the sound of the is it Long-Tailed Winter Bird, the opening song on McCartney 3? There's that video of him doing it, isn't there, that was on there, and it's that's obviously, it sounds a lot better when he does it, but I like that little riff that he's got going in there, and he does that sort of little chugga chugga. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. In fact, I'm looking forward to hearing all the album. It's going to be great. Graham says, do I always like Paul's albums from first listen? No, not always. It takes a while. You know, some of his albums I'm still warming to. So no, it takes a while. I mean, Egypt Station I enjoyed on first listen, and it's just got better and better. New was at slightly lower level than that for me. Driving Rain, I didn't quite get that at first, and it's all right now. I still think it's just 20 minutes too long. But no, I take it on its own merits. I don't force myself to like a Paul McCartney album. So yeah. American Deluxe version, says Sean, with a cool looking box. I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen a cool looking box. Is there a deluxe set behind that I regret buying? I thought that said at first, is there a deluxe set that I regret not buying? The answer to that's yes. But is there a deluxe set behind you that you regret buying? I'm sorry, I'm going to turn my back on you for a moment. And no, I don't regret buying anything. I mean that doesn't mean to say there's ones up there that I just haven't given any attention to, and I think I've not had my money's worth out of it. But no, I don't regret. I don't regret buying any of them. Will the 1992 George Martin track have current vocals or the old vocals? I think it's the album Closer. My understanding, Anthony, is that is the 1992 version. So I hope it doesn't stand out just for the fact that it's 1992, Paul. I'm sure I read that it was recorded the same day as Calico Skies, as in the Flaming Pie version, not a demo, but the actual version on the album. So that'll be interesting. Hi David, sorry you've missed tonight's show. Well, you're here now. It'll be available on Catch Up at some point if you're a glutton for punishment. Watch Bread, Andrew. Paul McCartney was in it. Oh yes, the 80s sitcom. He for those of you that, I mean, that's probably pretty niche if you're outside of the UK. There was a sitcom set in Liverpool called Bread in the 1980s, and Paul and Linda appeared on that. I think the family sort of made friends with Linda, not realising who she was, and Paul dropped her off at their house, just a little council estate, or terraced housing estate in Liverpool, dropped Linda off to go and spend some time with the family, and he sat outside in the car, and there's people thinking he was a taxi driver or something dropping her off. So that was funny. Yeah, I remember that. I've not seen that for a long time. Rick says, do I think Carnival of Light exists? Well, yes, it definitely exists. There's no doubt it exists. What I don't believe is when you see random people on the internet saying, oh yeah, I've heard Carnival of Light. No, you haven't. Not at all. No, you haven't. Giles Martin's heard it. In fact, I remember an interview where he said that he had it on his laptop next to him, and I believe that because he'd probably been working on Sgt. Pepper at the time, and I'm sure it must have been under consideration for releasing the Sgt. Pepper box. So yeah, absolutely exists, and whether we'll hear it is the question. Whether it'll ever get released, I think there's been so many opportunities. Apparently George Harrison vetoed it on Anthology 2. It didn't appear on the Sgt. Pepper box 3 years ago, which was a great chance to get it out there. So will it ever come out? I don't know. Oh, my throat. Quick quiz question. See who's going to be quickest off the ball here. Whose album is this? Name the artist for this album. Just a quick look. I want to see who's the first person to get that right. In fact, did I even see who was the first person to get 1991 for the last quiz question? I don't think I called out whoever it was, so I'm just going to scroll back and see if I can... Alright, well, let me scroll back that far. So apologies whoever was first. I didn't see it. So let's see who gets that correct first. So the first person to answer was David Slaner, who said John Lennon. There's a lot of people saying John Lennon. If you're saying John Lennon, you are wrong. The answer, and Andrew Galvin. Oh, Andrew, I don't know if you were around at the start. If you weren't, you might want to go back later on and watch the start, because I specifically answered your question from yesterday. This is Yoko's Plastic Ono Band. There you go. Trick question. Trying to fool you there. Trying to catch you out. The way I always remember it is, this is Yoko's album because she's leaning on John for support. And on John's album, he's laid down and he's leaning on Yoko for support. That's how I remember it anyway. So if you just said Lennon, that's cheating. Oh, my Uncle Richard got it right. Hello, Uncle Richard. No catching him out. He knows his stuff. So, yeah, it was Yoko. What's this? I saw this earlier and I didn't get a chance to answer it. Hi, Andrew. Great show. Thank you very much. A Beatle question. Have you heard the Beatles live in Bournemouth 1963 tape? Do you know much about it? I can answer no to both those questions. Is this something that's recently been unearthed? No, I'm afraid. If anybody does know, then let Trevor. I can see the name Trevor inside there. Let Trevor know. But no, sorry, I don't know about that one. Oh, there's a what if question. Do you think Sir Macca would have released this many variations if we had the anticipated Let It Be Get Back releases? Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah. I'm not sure that would have made any difference. I do wonder, the one thing I am intrigued to know, with all this solo Beatles product and everything, is what the reason is for Plastic Ono Band Deluxe looking like it's probably going to be next year now. And I wonder if is it because they've decided to make the Gimme Some Truth box much more high profile and the thing that they want to focus on and get as much out of that Christmas market, etc. as possible, and therefore they've decided to concentrate on this for longer than they'd intended? Or has Macca scuppered it by having McCartney III come out on the 50th anniversary of Plastic Ono Band? Because if the John Lennon camp, well, let's say it's Sean now, isn't it? If they're as keen as Paul is to have a number one album, then I think because Paul's is a new album, that's always going to win that battle. So I wonder if, because that could be some tension, couldn't it? If they were going to release that on the 50th anniversary and Paul's come and scuppered it. I don't know. That's just some sneaky little speculation. But I think probably it's more likely that we want to concentrate on that. But in terms of the Let It Be, if that had come out, I still think Capitol would have gone for it with this. Yeah. Carnival of Lights been held back for the 75th anniversary. When would that be? That would be... When would that be? 2042? Blimey. I hope it's out before then. Right, let's just have a look. How are we doing for time? 9:58. We've nearly rattled off an hour again. That's gone fast. Mazzy, you've got your Plastic Ono book. Excellent. I'll have to have a look at. Have you done a video on that? I've not really been on YouTube much this week to see who's had videos out and who hasn't. So I'll, if you have, I'll have a look and see for that. I know how much you love. No, you don't love doing unboxing videos at all, do you? I know you don't like those. But it'd be good to hear your thoughts on it in a video if you haven't done already. Taylor Swift was going to perform with Paul at Glastonbury. Yeah, they mentioned that in this interview, didn't they? That's come out. Because I did say. I did those videos late last year. The one that I got the most grief for of any video that I've ever done about why Paul McCartney shouldn't do Glastonbury. And then I followed it up. I tried to be a bit more positive with how it could work. And I started talking about, there's nobody on this planet who can pull in better guest stars to a festival headline slot than Paul McCartney. Absolutely not. And, well, you can use the word better or you can use the word biggest, and they're not always the same, because, you know, he could get Kanye on stage, and that's going to horrify a lot of people, but that's going to grab some headlines, you know, if he brought Ringo on. Dave Grohl always likes to play with him. Like you say, Taylor Swift, he can get some massive name. Imagine if he pulled in Kanye and Rihanna to do 4 or 5 seconds. Again, I know a lot of traditional Paul fans are not going to like that, but wow, that would grab some headlines. It really would. So, you've not done a video yet, Mazzy? Okay, well, I'll look out to see whether if you do, that'd be good to see. But, should Sean get Julian involved now he's took over John's business interests? Well, that's for Sean and Julian to decide. I'm sure Julian, well, I can't say I'm sure Julian anything. It's not for me to know what Julian thinks, but why not? If they both wanted to do it, then that'd be great. Yeah. So that's harsh, Steve. 2020 is like a Yoko Ono album. That's harsh. Quite funny though. Let It Be last released in 81. Yeah, didn't it get like a laser disc release in Australia or something like that? So it's due. Next year could be great for finally getting all this Let It Be stuff. Yeah, John's asking about George Harrison 50th anniversary, All Things Must Pass. I think we talked about that a bit earlier. Certainly doesn't look like it's coming this year. I'm sure we're still going to get it, but it's going to be next year now. So I think I am about done, folks. It's been a great session. Thank you for everybody who's been firing questions at me. It's been really great, but I'm about done. Please stick with me if you're going to be interested in McCartney III and any of the other Beatles releases that come out, because I'm going to be all over those. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I don't ask often, but if you want to hit that subscribe button, YouTube is far more likely to tell you when I'm doing videos, so that you don't miss them. But I'm going to say thank you very much. And I will see you again soon. If I haven't answered your question tonight, I apologise. Keep it for next time. But we're done. Thank you very much. Stay safe, everybody. Wear a mask. Thank you.